Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Super Cool Radio. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am super excited to chat with my guest at this time. He is a phenomenal vocalist, musician, and songwriter. Please welcome the vocalist for Nonpoint, Elias Soriano.
Yay! What's going on?
Dude, it is awesome to chat with you and have you on the podcast. I was growing up, with Nonpoint, it was, just something I listened to. So it's just so cool to have you and to chat with you because I got, a lot to discuss, and it's awesome.
Well, it's super cool to be here. It's super cool.
Oops, hit my mic. That's what we go for here.
That's what I'm trying. I'm trying, man. I'm gonna set those up all podcast long for you. All right.
Hey, I appreciate it. But as I said, I know we got quite a bit to discuss, but I do want to start with an incredible tour starting on April 25th, the Out of Control tour. It is Nonpoint, Soil, Sumo Cyco. It's a stacked tour, 3 incredible bands. What can people expect from this tour?
New music, new production, live antics and good times, especially getting our old friends in Soil back out. This will be their first tour, I believe, in 3 years almost. And then same with Sumo. It's been a while since we've been out with those cats, and that's an amazing show. We got Sky on one of our new songs coming up on the record, which came out amazing. I can't wait for people to hear that. We've done so many tours with those amazing people. That we've got an opportunity to share the stage in so many different ways that I definitely had to call Sky and ask her if she would grace us with her voice on our record. And, she humbly accepted, and we have a better record for it. We're really excited about all of this. Same thing with Soil. We just did an amazing run with those boys last year in the UK, which was so much fun. We had to do it again here in the States, so it's going to be a good time. Family, friends, and a new feel to everything. It's going to be cool.
Definitely sounds like it. Actually, I saw Soil, I believe, on their last tour. I think it was 2024. Soil and Union Underground. I think it was 2024, and I honestly, I think Soil is very underrated. They are just phenomenal musicians. Same with Sumo Cyco as well. Everyone brings, and you guys, it's going to be such a stacked tour that have all 3 of you guys bands performed on the same tour? Is this going to be a first time?
The 3 of us together, yes, but I've done a few tours with Soil and now a few tours with Sumo, so we're gonna marry the 2 together and like you said, stack it up as much as possible.
Oh, for sure. I know it's going to be some killer shows. So I'm kind of curious. Obviously, you talked about the new music and and having Sky on one of the songs. So I'm kind of curious, what can people expect from this new music?
A couple of collabs where we don't know if they'll make it on I think Skies is going to make it on the first pressing. But we have a first initial pressing of the record that we're going to do that's going to be exclusive and unique within itself. And then we're going to have other guests that we already have lined up jumping on. I won't give it all away because we got Sky on this next one, so it was gonna come out that she was on the record soon. So I figured I'd just let it trickle out through you guys. But the overall vibe of the record is very very heavy, very very new feeling, especially with the addition of Jason, addition of some of the textures and layers that we're playing with sonically, in just in the general mix of our music, keys and strings and stuff that we, played with on our X record, that we fooled around with a little bit during the Heartless and Ruthless era. So, we're really going to bring all those in the fold. But I think I took a step way, way back and really started to pay attention to what people were asking of me, of the collabs that I was doing with them, and having that epiphany of, hey, maybe this is what people want to see me do more on my record. So let me lean in that direction and go back, really back to basics, and go back to a lot of my cadence play, a lot of my lyric play, a lot of metaphors and double and triple entendres and things that make people hopefully want to re-listen and dig in and find a meaning in there somewhere. It's all fun and games and great in the pit, and I love to excite people with trigger words, but at the end of the day, I want them to read further and have their own epiphanies.
Well, that is very cool, and I feel like, especially for you guys at this time, it's very exciting for I think you guys and the fans as well, because with the music and the collabs you were working on, it feels very exciting with everything. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with, with the new music. Kind of curious for at this stage of your career, like how like when you're writing a song, like what do you look for, like inspiration? Do you just it's what you're feeling? Like what's kind of your process?
Well, from what the guys usually send, there's a song in there within the song. Sometimes it's just there. When it comes to what I see and what I translate into a song and lyrics and meaning, usually comes from how the music paints itself in the room, mood wise, aggressive, if how much of a roller coaster it is. If it's more linear, then that's where I have to be the roller coaster. If I can't find something that's more, that maybe that it rests on me to do that. So I like to allow the players and the other guys in the band to play and write stuff that they like themselves. It's without influence from there. That way they spend all the time beat their heads against the wall, rewrite the riff a dozen times, and then finally get to this point. And then sometimes what they feel like might be a verse may feel like a chorus to me, and I write a vocal line over top of it that now has them flipping their thinking on what they wrote, because they expected it to be a chorus. So it's got to, there's this dance that comes with, hey, write whatever you want to write, but at the end of the day, it's my turn next to then be inspired by it enough to then lay something down that feels even exciting for me to want to present. And sometimes in its first incarnation, it doesn't always present itself that way. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, that's a verse. Yeah, that's a chorus. It's really letting the current kind of take things where they're going to go. And then me just steer to the most beautiful shore I can find.
That is such an excellent way of saying that. I appreciate that with everything
This
else.
ain't my first rodeo, brother.
Oh, I know, but you just said
I'll
it
do
so
that.
well that like I can't even like follow it up. That was fantastic.
No,
But
it's all good. I give a shit about this stuff, so it matters at the end of the day. The songwriting's what I love the most. So
for sure, as a fan of Nonpoint, that's what really like drew me in is the lyrics, the songwriting, and the music, the whole combination. It just for me at least, just sucked me in and go, man, these guys like between the lyrics and the music, like these guys care. Like that's what really drew me into you guys. That's why I've been listening to you guys for many years at this point. But kind of going along with that, like, how do you know when a song is complete?
when we're sending it off to master, that's honestly, We've been trying to get this record done for 2 years. It's literally been 2 years and about 24 songs, I think we wrote, to have it dialed down to about 11. At this stage in the game, for me, it has to be music that I love to even want to, get out there and send it out and put things behind it. I'm always creating. I collab. I do other stuff on the side to always, get the writing bug and that itch to keep that always top of mind and ready to go when I need it. But when it comes to Nonpoint, there's a lot of records. I've said quite a bit now in my career when it comes to Nonpoint. It's got to move me, or else I don't want to put it out, because there's other stuff that moves our audiences so well that I want anything that we put out moving forward at record number 11, that it's something that people go, okay, I would have put this out too. And I want to be that proud of it before it even sees the light of day. And I think we got there. We're damn close. So when will it be finished? When do I know that it's finished? When everybody's kind of like, it's not, all the parts have been done. We had a lot of those back and forths prior to the studio visit. So, and we try to keep it that way. So people, especially our producers and engineers, don't feel like they're wasting their time in the studio with us. Everybody's got to kind of do their job.
Oh, for sure. And kind of going along with that too. Like if you aren't excited about the music, then like no one else can be excited.
Y'all ain't gonna be excited about it. Yeah. But I just get excited about it as much as I can, and then we put it out, and then the audience tells me whether or not it's timeless or timely in that sense, where it's did it match and decorate the year that it was released. When I listen to those songs, does it take me back there the way that people listen to our old songs, and it takes them somewhere, or it takes them someplace, or brings them to someone at that is gone and past. So it's a good journal. It's a sonic journal.
Oh, for sure. And kind of with that, it's I don't want to say like escape, but yeah, it's memories. It's the feelings that evoke it. That like that's what people connect to. Either that's live or on a CD or a studio recording. That's what
Yeah.
people like connect with the most.
Yeah. And there's going to be, when you get this far into your catalog and into this many songs, that you've written so many songs, you want to make sure that when people then start digging deep, because they will at this point in your career, 20 years in, they're really going to start, after record number one, expectations were always growing after that. So also, criticisms and attention to detail are going to come with that time. It's like, okay, what have they done next? What makes this different than the other? Now I have to listen deeper. I understand that people are listening very deep, especially at this point in my career. So I'm going to leave them with something that's, substantial, hell or
Well,
high water.
But no, for sure, and kind of going along with that as well. Like, so obviously, with knowing what you just said about that, people are going to really like dig into it, analyze it, all of that. Does that putting like pressure on you to make it like to make this music the best possible, or do you kind of like I know this is what I got into with the first
I
song?
don't think, man, it's the pressure of them is not, is of the fan base and of critics and of that side, is not what I care about at all. I care about how much we push ourselves. The five dudes in the band and my team behind us. It's like, how much are we actually committing to this process? How much are we really caring? Do we care enough to care enough to maybe take a second listen, to take a third listen, to you know to to be able to accept the fact that maybe even through all of your work that your idea might not be the best, that maybe it's time to let someone take the reins for a minute. You know, Johnny Cage said this to me a long time ago, and it was during one of those struggles where it's like, hey, I think this idea, I think this idea. It's like sometimes you got to let people show you your own greatness. Sometimes you don't know when you're being great. Through all of the time that you put into whatever idea you thought was great, there could be a part that you're missing that you did by mistake that's bigger and better than what you're sitting on. So give it a listen, give it an honest listen, and see if it works. Because it will, if someone, especially on a fresh listen, hears something that goes, I feel like this might serve better if it was either laid back more because, you know, the drums are really what it's about right now, or hey, don't be shy, get out in front, let's layer it 5 times deep, put 4 harmonies on it and put it out in front, because you may not think it's that cool, but it makes the song for me, a layman listener. Like that kind of thing where you know, there's no such thing as a bad idea in a room, or who the fuck it came from. Everyone will have a good idea. It's whether or not you respect their commitment to the overall project that allows you to be accepting of it. If not, if you're like, hey, you're just fucking walking in here, what the hell are you know, you can't just give me an idea. I've spent months on this. It's like, hey, but maybe my skill set, maybe my tenure, maybe the fact that I've written 168 other songs, you might want to take a beat and give the idea a listen. So that's what I've learned at this stage in the game of, you know, when's a song done? When all the good ideas are out, every good idea has been listened to, and everybody looks at each other and goes, I feel good about this. Then it's done. I mean, there's still egos involved, and there's still feelings involved, and, you know, still people holding music precious that is at a certain point, you know, has that feeling that it's expired, not expired in the sense of uh expired in its moment back when you wrote it. It was amazing back then, but because times have passed and feelings have passed and things have gone past, if it doesn't rest as being timeless back then it wasn't timeless to begin with, and we should get to work. So, you know, that's the honest side of songwriting that some people can't deal with. And that's where you butt heads and things take longer than expected, and, you know, feelings get hurt, and sometimes fucking bands break up. It happens. So, you know, if there was any advice that I would give any up and coming songwriter, it's don't hold music too precious, but also know when your ear is telling you and your gut's telling you that, you know, sometimes things need to change, and you know, at least try to change them, see what comes out. If not, you always got what you wrote.
A great way to sum that portion up. I do want to talk about a few other aspects before we start to close out this interview. So you mentioned you know, your collabs, especially like in your more recent years. So I actually interviewed about a year and a half ago Chris from Arcade Assembly. So I'm kind of curious, are there
Yes.
any plans with that for Arcade Assembly?
It's funny, I just saw Chris, he just played with In the End, the Linkin Park tribute that he
Yeah,
passed
yeah,
away.
I've seen them live.
I went out and sang with him on stage and surprised the people down here in South Florida. Um, I love writing with Chris. I've written 12 songs with Chris in 10 days. Very, very fast songwriting. Um, Super talented dude. When we started Arcade, there was a bit of a time dip in our other projects, so we thought we were going to have a little bit more time to churn and burn some of that music, and but things started moving me over to Europe and over into, the other parts of the world with the festival circuit and the resurgence of new metal, we were on every festival, like festival offers were coming left and right. So we kind of, we're like, okay, maybe it's, and all of the festivals and all of those promoters are asking when our new record's coming out because they want to keep that ball rolling. So then that shifted. So I had to put all the collab stuff, and I just got asked to do another song, and I had to say no just because I'm like, man, I'm so busy with the new record. That's why all my microphones and sound were all different and weird to you, because the sound was coming in this guy over across the room, and I didn't even realize that you weren't hearing me in this. I was like, oh, wait a minute, my output's all set weird, so I got to go back and unplug and replug and shift stuff. So we kind of hit um a bit of a stride with the Nonpoint brand. So I had to put the collapse stuff on break right now, but it's always there. It's always there. I'm doing a song with Mixie from Stitched Up Heart. They're about to drop a song that I'm featured on, so that's gonna be interesting to see. I'm excited. I think it's a killer song. I think people are gonna love it. But it's definitely something new, and then something that is very expected of me. So it's exciting.
I've interviewed Mixie. She's incredible as well. But also, so do you plan to revisit these collabs like in maybe in the future at some point?
Yeah. Yeah, when the new record cycle starts to slow down, I'm gonna be calling Chris and seeing a lot of that stuff that him and I wrote. It's still strong today. It's one of those things where that song that we did, the first song, Nothing's Real, that we did was I mean, I could play it today and it holds up. So that's what I mean by you know it's like Big Papa by Notorious B.I.G. If you played that in a club right now, everybody would start dancing and singing along just because it's timeless. But it takes you back. It's still painting that 92, 93, hip hop feel where everybody was taking old 70s records and 80s records and putting out stuff. So, you know, th- that's what I plan on doing, is like bringing that back and going, hey, you heard us back then. Here's a full length. We're there's definitely room to run with that still.
Well, I really enjoyed the first single. Obviously, talking with Chris, and in the end, is they're phenomenal. I've seen them
They're
live.
so good. Yeah, they're so good live. Them and Grey Days. Them and the Grey Days guys. They're amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I had the opportunity to see in the end. Actually, about this time last year, and
Yeah.
they were just so cool. And Chris is just the nicest person. He made
Yes.
time, hung out, talked with me. It was funny. I think he still has a shirt. He has like a vampire shirt. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's got like little like vampires on it. But I looked at it like when I was talking to him, and I was like, dude, that looks like Nic Cage as a vampire. And now he's like, that's all I see now. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. And then now he's in that vampire movie. So
Yeah, I think it was like around that same time, maybe slightly before. So it worked out just per. Maybe I willed that into existence. I
did you
don't
see
know.
the Spider-Man Noir that's coming out with Nick Cage?
No, no. I mean, I knew he was in the.
Bro, you gotta see the preview. There's a trailer for Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man, but way back in like I think it's like Roaring '50s kind of style, like "Rawr, Huckleberry Boger, rawr, watch out, copper, see." It's like that kind of I'm sorry, it's that kind of like vibe, and it's all in black and white, and the clips alone are great. It's hilarious. It's you gotta see it. You gotta check it out. Shout out to
I
Nick
know.
Cage. I'd love it if you were in our next music video, sir. Please, that'd be great.
Yeah, I know. He was in like I think through the multiverse. He made a brief cameo as that Spider Man. I believe.
Yes,
So I didn't know they're making a full like that. That'll be good.
yes, yes. I wouldn't be surprised if they thought about it prior and dropped it in there. But if they didn't, I would almost guarantee it was because of the audience reaction probably when they were test screening it for people because my reaction alone when I saw Nic Cage, I was like, oh! So people, I'm sure the execs looked at each other and were like, well, there we go. We got this. There's the next series. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
for
what a
sure. No,
great revival to bring him back as that character. That's great, man. What a great brand to be a part of.
it definitely is. And, like I'm actually a Nick Cage. I've actually interviewed his son like a couple years ago, which was funny.
That's
But
awesome.
his career is really like, I know for a while he had like the financial problems, so he was taking like any movie regardless if it was good. But now it feels like lately with his last probably like 5 to 10 years, his career has really got a resurgence of like he's putting out quality movies and really showcasing his skills, which is great to see compared to like the last like that time where it was like
Yeah.
everyone's like making fun of him because of the movies he was in.
Yeah, me too. I feel like he's a great actor, especially if you dig back into his more dramatic roles. Everybody has tough times in
Oh yeah.
in their lives and dips in their careers and in the industry. It's not easy to create art, and his craft is not easy. I see the comments and the practices of some of the greats like Anthony Hopkins and Robert De Niro and all these guys, and they literally read their scripts 250 to 500 times before they do the role. Imagine reading a book 250 times before you did it's like that, but they understand that that's what it takes to do it right. So, you can't really harp on anybody that has any kind of commitment to do that kind of craft at that kind of level, no matter where they are in their fucking career. So, fuck all those people and good for you, Nick.
Word. I can't say that any better with that. But I do, as we're starting to close out this interview, I do got one more thing I'd like to cover with you, Elias, before we head
Yep.
out. So next year is actually, I believe, from my research, the 30th anniversary for Nonpoint coming up in 2027.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of special plans in the works, any kind of surprises, or you have not got there yet? Just want to get through 2026?
Definitely gonna get through this album cycle first, but we definitely know that that's coming. So if I had to guess, and if I was just throwing darts here, I would probably say that it would behoove us to represent every single record on a tour eventually sometime in that coming year. So we did Painful Statements, which was, Statement, all of Statement and all of To the Pain we did. Well, some melodies, but it was a 2 hour show. It was over 2 hours that we did, which was quite the undertaking. So we're probably not going to do every record, but I I don't see it difficult to at least represent every single record, because thinking about it right now, I would at least play 2 songs off of every record to make sure that we're checking all the boxes. I would even, which is a great idea because I'm thinking, all right, you got me thinking on the fly here. I would do like a bracket like we did when we did with, I'd set up brackets like we did with our cover of Doves. When we did When Doves Cry, we left it up to the fans to pick the next song that we covered. And we put up, I think it was like 38 songs or something like that for people to choose from. And it tapered all the way down to Metallica and Prince ended up winning. So if we find ourselves not able to decide which ones or which ones our fans would really want, I would probably do a posting series where I ask the fans, hey, off of Vengeance, what songs, if you could only pick 2, would you pick? And then gather that data and put together a set. So, that's, if I'm guessing, that's where I'm at with it.
Well, I'm very excited to see what you guys do come up with, and just what's really cool. What you are, what you talked about is your engagement with the fans. That you like really involve them with so much of what Nonpoint is. That it's just so cool to see that level of connection and awareness with the fans. That like we want to include you.
Well, it's at the end of the day, I'm in the entertainment business. I am just blessed enough to have the opportunity to use it as a channel to, you know, give myself a little bit of therapy and to, you know, get some things off my chest that I can't sometimes say directly to people because of the damage I know that it would do. What this combination and this connection is, I want people to feel a deep connection with the music that we put out. And I at the exact same time, and it's just as important to me, I want them to have a blissful, entertaining moment during that 2.5 to 4.5 minutes that song, you know, occupies their lives, and be as present as they can with it.
Oh, for sure. I think that sums it up so well, and I think we're gonna close it out on that note because that is just again like what throughout the interview, just very well said.
Thank you.
But I will have some links for Nonpoint in the description of this podcast. Tour starts April 25th with Soil and Sumo Cyco. Make sure to see them live. I guarantee you will have a blast. No
and
doubt.
Free Nic Cage. Free Nic Cage.
Exactly. Free Nic Cage. But for Elias Soriano of Nonpoint, I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.